Hello and welcome to another edition of Wellbeing on Spectrum Television. Wellbeing is an interactive website at spectrumtv.ng. As the world joined hands to mark this year's World Malaria Day with the theme Time to Deliver Zero Malaria, Invest, Innovate and also Implement, it is a call for countries around the world to come together under one umbrella to raise awareness about this vector-borne disease that has remained a significant public health threat and to promote efforts to combat it. Back in 2020, the World Health Organization estimates that about 241 million cases of malaria and about 627,000 malaria-related deaths do occur in 85 countries, and also more than two-thirds of these deaths were among children under the age of 5. They all live in Africa. It went further to say that about 29 countries are set to account for 3% of malaria deaths worldwide, with a particular focus on the implementation of policies and strategies. This year's theme is tailored to reach marginalized communities, hampering on the fact that it is crucial to assess where we are as a country and what we all can do to accelerate progress towards a malaria-free Nigeria. Well, this and many more would be the crux of our discussion on today's episode of Wellbeing, but before then, let us quickly take this short break. We'll be right back.
Every day, we bring you up-to-date information on education, health, lifestyle, and so much more. Join Janice Kobum and Uyai Anyeken every weekday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Rise and Shine Daily, exclusive on Spectrum Television.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, we paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story.
Good health, they say, is something you can't buy, but the decision to live healthy is a choice that you have to make. Join health practitioners from diverse health fields as they provide you with vital information to help your day-to-day health decisions on Wellbeing, your wellness talk show. Wellbeing airs every Monday, 7 to 7:30 p.m. only on Spectrum TV.
Do remember to follow us on all our social media handles at Spectrum TV, or you can visit our website at spectrumtv.ng to be a part of the family. So today we are actually talking about malaria, as we are actually celebrating with the rest of the world World Malaria Day. And tonight, good to have you join me on the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, so malaria has been seen to be one of the most popular diseases around sub-Saharan Africa, and over the years we've seen so many cases, and we've also seen the challenges that it has posed in our health and also in our society. But why is that so? Why is this pathogen?
Yeah, various parts of Africa, and in this context, we're looking at Nigeria, as in it occurs, virtually all, almost all year round in Nigeria. So it's been here because of various factors, based on our level of development, the way and lifestyle we handle things like our waste, our buildings. For instance, when we build the structures with which we how we build structures in terms of building it along, waterways and disposal of refuse. Some challenges that result in people being exposed to, malaria, the vector of the disease, that's the female Anopheles mosquito. So there are a lot of factors that have contributed in making these particular disease to still remain rules of malaria as is being celebrated in this year's World Malaria Day.
Okay, so every year the World Health Organization has hampered on the need for countries all around the world to create and implement policies, the peculiarities of this region. How feasible do you think it is for us to actually achieve zero malaria?
Well, if you look at the African continent, some countries have achieved zero malaria, prevalence in the last. Countries like Egypt is pushing to have zero malaria, within their country. So I think that it's not something that is not achievable. In Nigeria, achieving zero malaria World Malaria report in 2022. In 2021, we had about 247 million cases of malaria globally. All right. Nigeria is actually one of 4 countries that contribute 50% of the cases of malaria is seen of that particular number. In fact, you have malaria in Nigeria, you have figures we have. And this also, goes to the level of mortality as well. We are having almost close to 700,000 deaths, to the pool of malaria, also from malaria. So it's whilst other countries are, driving away, going away from that narrative, we still have a lot to do to reduce the burden of malaria within our sphere, within our milieu, because we actually a lot of other spending. We really need to do much more to actually reduce that prevalence of malaria.
All right, so taking a look at this year's theme, time to invest and also innovate, implement. There are so many things that are tied out to this year's theme, but can you tell us?
We need to do much more than what we are doing now to get zero cases of malaria, and that will require us investing more, investing more in financially, especially into the pool of replenishing for global health. All right. So if you look at the target for the global the transmission of malaria, the burden of malaria is that by 2025 we should have reduced the total burden of malaria by 75%, and then by 2030 that burden should reduce by 90%. But we call the expected amount that is needed to fund for malaria and reduce that burden, and they actually meet that target. So it's calling on nations like Nigeria also to put in more resources into bridging that gap and reducing the burden of malaria. So currently we actually have innovations so that the use of the long-lasting insecticidal nets. All right. Now the long-lasting insecticidal net is actually impregnated with pterotroid, but we are actually saying that there's some form of resistance that has been coming over time with following the use of the nets, in their bags, and they never end up using the net, and they actually end up. So people actually misuse the net and use it to cover their farms, and so. But innovations are have been brought in. All right, these innovations have sought to combine, have been brought up, to drive the use of preventive treatment for malaria amongst pregnant women, amongst school age children, and various groups in the north that have seasonal chemotherapy and all the rest like that. So RTSS vaccine, and then one that was approved in Nigeria, the R21 vaccine, that can be used for children to reduce the severity of malaria in children. Okay. All right. So those are some innovations that are coming in. In fact, I actually read somewhere about drugs that the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation proposed that could actually end up sucking the blood or having the blood meal from people that have ingested that drug. So a lot of innovations are coming up, concerning malaria. But it's important that we begin to get involved in what is happening. And then malaria is not a problem that just government resolves. With the innovations that are coming out in terms of, a bid to reduce mortality, in fact, accept innovations and then implement it amongst us, but also be ready to modify our lifestyle. Okay, so if we look at a state like Akwa Ibom, semi-urban, areas and then urban areas. So with that kind of movement happening, it's been projected that in 2050, there's going to be a likelihood that 7 out of 10 people that are going to be meeting, they're going to be staying in urban areas. That is different from what you have in rural areas like that. So the people moving to the cities are likely going to want to go and build, and it's important that there's a lot of understanding with regards to that challenging with people building, along channels where you have water, and then you have flooding occurring, and this flooding creates breeding sites for combat the issue of waste disposal. All right, and then people dispose their waste indiscriminately. Now, this results in a day breeding sites. There are a lot of other things, and then also modifications. People actually, trying to, change their health-seeking behaviors when it comes to malaria. People think that every other thing, for every fever that they have, they like that we can just wake up in the morning and then, based on the fact that you have a headache, it has to be malaria, or based on the fact that you have a fever, it has to be malaria. We have to incorporate into the culture, because we are currently talking about issues of resistance. All right, even though the lecture is pointing on the fact that there could be, issues of resistance, but we need to be aware of that fact that, when we discriminate abuse.
Malaria has actually been with us for centuries now, and in some families, it has actually become a household name. So when you have any symptoms, maybe like fever or cold, for us to actually achieve zero malaria, I think some of these issues needs to be addressed. Exactly.
We just need to realize malaria in Nigeria and probably many parts of Africa has become something that has intermingled with our cultures, we can put it that way, because for in diagnosing malaria and treating malaria on their own. So you have, and sometimes they don't even use recommended drugs, sometimes they use various remedies, they use herbs, they use so many things in the course of trying to take care of themselves. And these things need to be addressed. We need to create the awareness, make people get tested on your own. You need to get tested, and then when you start the treatment, if you have malaria, you also need to complete the treatment, because a lot of people start the treatment and after a day or two, they just forget about it, they feel better, and they go on with their life.
That was actually introduced by the World Health Organization, and also the federal government, the Federal Ministry of Health has actually adopted. Let us look at the efficacy of this vaccine. Is it safe? Is it healthy? Can we not see some of this? Because we're going to eventually see some people who are going to be hesitant to go take up this, because we've also seen the COVID-19. So can you tell us, as public health consultants, how effective are these vaccines?
Okay, so like I did mention, the vaccines that are currently, they have, I think they have gone into phase 3 or 4 trials, all right? And the WHO recommended the RTSS vaccine based on their work and efficacy of about 30, something percent that can rise to as high as 60% based on the what I saw. All right, then, but I'm told also that the federal government also adopted the one of the R2, still undergoing trial with WHO, and the WHO has not established it yet, but the federal government has approved that particular, has given a provisional approval for that particular R21 vaccine. I think that it's going to be safe, okay? It's going to be for children below the ages of 5, and the target is to reduce the severity of malaria in children, and in doing that, reduce morbidity and mortality. So there won't be any harm, all right, in taking the vaccine. But for now, we just have to wait, eyes, our fingers crossed, because a lot of work is still ongoing to ensure that we actually have these vaccines, incorporated into the routine immunization schedule of Nigeria.
Let's take a look at the role of individuals in the fight against malaria, because every time we actually push the blame to the government at various levels, but now let us look at the role of individuals to actually take precautionary measures to actually eradicate malaria.
Okay, so like I just said, individuals, the malaria is one must be on deck. Everybody's hands must be on deck to make sure malaria is eliminated within the shores of this country. At the same time, you have to prevent the disease as well whilst that fight is ongoing. So you want to ensure that you get the long-lasting. All right, a lot of people get the net, but like I said, using of the net is actually still very, very low. All right, so you want to ensure that simple practices like closing the door on time, all right, closing the door early, closing the windows on time, all right, the female anopheles mosquito that transmits the disease. Also, people should the keeping of things like stagnant water in tires, in containers should be discouraged. People should, as much as possible, drain this and gives an opportunity for this creates a breeding site for mosquitoes to grow around your neighborhood and eventually come back into your houses as well. All of these insecticides that are used, all right, spraying indoors, people evacuate their houses for a while.
And also materials. So now let us put our mind to the futuristic perspective. What if these partners are not there? What can the government do to actually help and also control the fight against
our partners? Because currently funding for health in Nigeria is very low, and look at our fiscal space for health. It's very, very low. So we are going right now. If partners pull out, we're actually faced with a lot of disaster. So, and then also we are already faced with healthcare workers, leaving the country as well. So it will be very poor and very terrible for you to have that kind of situation occurring. So, but for now, it will be very good for partners to, we still have all these commodities for use by pregnant women, especially children, and then of course other individuals as well.
Okay, so finally, now let us look at the feasibility of us as a country, Nigeria, top countries that is actually ranking the first when we talk about the prevalence of malaria. What do you think we can do? Do you think we can actually work together to actually achieve zero malaria free Nigeria before the 2030?
Okay, for now we're actually there's some progress. But Nigeria, prevalence of malaria in Nigeria is about 22%, and is down from 23%, which is just one step. All right. So for us to like that, which based on what you are seeing, from 22% down to 5 or so, it's we're kind of a long way, but it's not. We shouldn't give up hope. I think we should just intensify effort. All right. There was a time it was higher than that, but over time it's reducing. So government should solve the issues where we are having these issues of mobility, the impact of diseases like COVID. COVID had come in and taking us some steps backward. But I think that if we put our hands together.
Dr. Emmanuel Edward, for being a part of this conversation. And I do hope that before the year runs out and also before 2030, would actually work together to eradicate malaria from the continent. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
So that was Dr. Emmanuel Edward, this World Malaria Day. Indeed, I am actually playing my part. I don't know if you are playing your part. You too play your part to actually eradicate malaria from your homes, from your community, and also from the country. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Remember that you could also be a part of the family by following us on all our social media handles at Spectrum TV, or you could visit our website at Spectrum TV to be a part.
Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.
Another day without your smile. Another day just passes by. But now I know how much it means for you to stay right here with me. The time we spend apart will make our love grow stronger.